I'm watching your video right now for shape and texture. I'm just gonna follow along and then you watch me. Okay. We're using Helen again. She's already curled.
Essentially what this does is creates a very soft, flat barrel curl from the root all the way down. And then this then creates the texture that we might be looking for. Now I've pre-curled all of the hair just with the idea that this curl is going to turn into the look, that the curl is not actually the look. So it's the foundation for what I'm going to be creating instead of the actual look itself. So the second technique I want to show you with your curling iron is a flat barrel curl. So here you start with the iron close to the root and wrap the hair flat around that iron to create the foundation of the curl. So again, keeping in mind that this is just the foundation of the look that I'm creating. So as far as the pattern and how well I'm doing it, it might not actually matter. And what I mean by that is because I'm going to be putting this hair up and I'm going to be working with the actual texture, this is not as important as how I manipulate and move the hair. That curl does not define the look. That look is defined by how I work with that curl. So after we've prepared the hair, what we're going to do is we're going to work with the shape and the texture. So I'm going to separate the hair from the top of the crown and behind the ear. And I really just want to think about what I'm going to create as far as my foundation. So I want to explore a couple of different ways to back comb. Right now I'm going to use the fine teeth of my comb and I'm going to press very deeply into the hair, just a couple of inches away from the root. And this is going to create a nice strong foundation for me to pin things to. Now once I have that foundation, work from the mid-shaft down to do a mid-shaft back combing. I'm going to use the wide teeth of my comb to really reinforce the texture and the curl pattern of the hair. So while I'm back combing, I want you to really pay attention to a couple of main points. The first is that I'm holding the hair at the ends of the hair. So what that means is I have all of that texture and that density between the ends and her scalp to work with. So even though I've curled that hair and then I've smoothed it out a little bit, you'll notice as I'm working and I'm pushing that curl back in from the mid-shaft back in and the mid-shaft back in, that curl pattern starts to reinforce itself. But not only is it just coming back out into curl, it's also creating a little bit of texture and fullness to that curl. So I start with that root, pressing firmly with that intention, and then mid-shaft pushing in to create that bend and that curl. And I'm always paying attention to what I'm doing. So I'm not just going and going and going and hoping it works out. That I know that the root is the foundation that I'm pinning to. And then I know for this part of the hair that this is actually going to be the look, the texture that I'm creating. And as I work my way up to the top, when I finally reach the top, I really want to continue on with this idea of root and then mid-shaft back combing. So we have two very specific techniques to control foundation and to control texture. So as we look at this end result of what I've created, we look at the volume and the fullness that we have with the root as well as the shape. But I really want us to explore how we can create volume by removing volume. So as we explore this shape, you'll notice that there's a lot of volume at the root, but then that shape falls down. So instead of actually creating more volume at the root to make the hair feel like it's more full at the top, you can actually change the shape underneath to make the appearance of there being more volume at the top. So in order to really explore this fact, we're going to take the hair and I'm just going to twist it up and I'm just going to use a hairpin to secure it. And I'm going to work my way from the nape all the way up to the crown. And I'm going to use that hairpin to go over and then securing it back. And I'm going to continue to work my way up, pinching the hair where I want it to be nice and taut, and then going over and then back. And I'm really just focusing on using hairpins because if I want to change it, I can always take those hairpins out without destroying the look. And as I work my way up, with those hairpins, because I have that foundation of back combing in there, that I can actually control that shape very easily. So as we look at this, you'll notice that that volume appears more full because I've removed that density and that weight at the nape. And then from here here I'm just going to take the hair and continue to pinch it up, and this is going to be the foundation for the curls that we're going to put over top so that the look is softer. So as I work, I'm just going to bunch that hair together in my hands, and then as I'm holding the hair, I'm just going to pin where I hold it, securing it with U-pins so that the hair stays in place. Now because I have this initial shape embedded into the hair, then the rest of the hair becomes an option of what do I want to do? Do I want to keep the curl smooth? Do I want to pull it apart a bit? How do I actually want to control this so it looks exactly the way I want? And as I continue to work my way up, I still have all that foundation and I have all that texture. So we have a lot of volume and a lot of shape with some texture that's loose with a little bit of fullness to it. And as I continue working, I'm really thinking about how big do I want this hair to be? How small do I want it to be? Where do I want that shape to live? Where don't I want that shape to live? Really focusing on this idea of that slope, and then if I pin very close to the nape, then it'll be closer and then we'll end up creating a stronger shape as I work through. So now that I have the hair in its form, now I can start to take the curls over top. What we're going to do is really thinking about that foundation and then the surface or the roof of the hair. So I have that curl that I've worked with, but instead of brushing it and backcombing it, I'm just going to pull it apart with my fingers so that curl remains intact. And then from there, I'm just going to sort of let that curl kind of express itself and see where it wants to go, and also see where I want to move it. So I'm just going to hold it in place and then very delicately place U-pins to secure that hair and continue working my way through, placing curl on top of curl to cover up the texture that I've created. And at the same time, I still have that fullness that I can maintain. And as I'm working, I'm not pulling the hair too taut, because if I do, then that curl won't have a chance to express itself. So I'm really holding the hair very delicately and softly. And as I continue working, I have that shape that lives underneath the curl, and then that curl then sits over top like a roof of a building. And as I work through, I'm just softly moving that texture around. Now, just because I've created this doesn't mean I can't control it or change it into different shapes. So what that means is as I work with this foundation, I have many options of how I want that curl to end up looking or how I want that shape to end up looking. I really have this very pliable, moldable fabric that responds the way that I want it to based on the foundations that I'm working with. Paying attention to the two separate categories. That shape is my foundation, and then texture is what I choose to live on top of that shape. So do I want that texture to be soft, or do I want it to be a little more clean? Do I want it to be fuller, or do I want it to be flatter? Really, how smooth or how messy do I want that texture to be? So as I continue to move and play with that hair, you'll notice I pull pieces out, and I really just push that hair where I want that hair to go. Again, paying attention to, for me, where I want that shape and that texture to go. So at the end of all of this, when we start to separate shape and texture, we start to see that we can really control